Hello.
Hello.
Hope I'm audible, guys.
Yep, all good.
Really sorry about that. I don't know like how it happened.
It's Twitter Spaces.
Hello everyone. Really apologies for the inconvenience. Looks like our space just rugged for some reason. Okay, no worries. We can get started. Let me just quickly add everyone in the speaker section. Okay, YJ, would you like to take it over while I add everybody?
Hey guys, I will quickly present myself. My name is Tomer. I'm a CMO of Kima Network. Kima Network is an interoperability solution. It's basically a communication protocol that enables interoperability 2.0, which is interoperability with no smart contracts, no oracles, in a direct, you can say, peer-to-peer way in a decentralized manner via the Kima network. We're a special network with no liquidity, with no users, with no smart contracts, and we're basically the thing that unifies and connects all the blockchains together and connects all blockchains to all the centralized world in a completely decentralized and trustless manner. If you want to learn more about Kima, you are more than welcome to visit our website. We're about to launch our new Kima Network website in the coming days. For now, you can visit our old website at Kima Finance. A bit about myself. I'm a 25 years digital marketeer, also a proud investor and advisor, strategic advisor of Cluster Protocol. Been an angel investor for the last 12 years, writing for Forbes, Cointelegraph about DeFi and GameFi, and very much excited to be part of this panel today. And thank you for having me, guys.
That was a lovely introduction, Tomer. So I'll quickly introduce myself. Just can you please ensure, YJ, that I'm audible?
Yeah.
Yes, you're perfectly audible.
Great. So I see a lot of lovely folks here, and a diverse.
You are cutting in and out.
Yeah, I'm losing you.
Here. So first of all, I would love to welcome everyone. I see Kuntal Pivot has also joined, so I'll welcome everyone. And yeah, I'll quickly introduce myself. So I've been in this space since 7 years now. I've held a couple of projects to levitate the vision to masses, and right now I'm helping Pivot in strategic investments and partnerships. I'm also a quite active angel in the space. That is a bit about myself, and yeah, I think there's another lovely project in the space called Neurochain. So I'll quickly request them to introduce themselves.
Hi, I like the throwing the ball idea. So I am Odetta from Neurochain AI, and very similar to Julian's story about Kip protocol. Neurochain was started by two of my co-founders who started playing around with AI at the end of 2022. And before they managed to build anything like a workable solution, they were racked up and were built by AWS, quite steep bills. And from that need and understanding that, they are not the only developers who are trying to play around with this incredible, future potential having technology, they decided to actually split away from GameStarter, where they were, leading the tech team, and started Neurochain AI to basically build tools for developers to be able to innovate with AI. So in essence, Neurochain AI is at the core a consumer-grade hardware DePIN. We're connecting consumer-grade devices into a decentralized compute network. We're also incentivizing community to do data collection and validation, which is something super powerful and super important for developers to have, in their toolbox, a cheaper, quicker, and more scalable way to collect certain types of data for their specific use cases. And also we're optimizing AI models to be compatible with the consumer-grade hardware, so that it's not only innovation in the DePIN space, but it's also looking at the latest technologies in optimizing AI models to be compatible and to be more efficient to run on consumer-grade hardware. So super excited to be here and to share this space with you, all of you guys. And thanks a lot for shout out.
Interesting. That was a good introduction from Neurochain. Let's move on to Eclipse 5. We had Simon there, and we got rugged in between. So yeah, Simon, would you like to take this ahead? Maybe you can introduce about you or Eclipse 5.
Yeah, I didn't even get to make my deep in daddy joke, but all good. I'm Simon, co-founder of Eclipse. We are building a launchpad, a multi-chain launchpad. I'd call it actually a launch hub. That's the direction that we're going in. Want to build a bit of a modular ecosystem for different launch mechanisms and ways to distribute tokens, but really focused on long-term sustainability and how to acquire high-quality users. So working on things like reputation scoring and other ways that we can really qualify users within our ecosystem, so that when protocols come, they can distribute the token the way they want through our hub. We've also got a governance aggregator built on Astroport, which is focused on, over the long term, funneling liquidity towards the projects that we're launching on Cosmos, at least. But I guess what's relevant about us being on this space is we've been really getting into the node sales recently, which has been really exciting. We recently did Aether, which was a really, really successful and exciting node sale. So we've been kind of working on the tech to kind of optimize for that and optimize the community. We're currently just about to finish our Rivals node sale. We're just in first come, first serve for that and finishing that up. And then we're going to do Carve as well. That's just opened the whitelist. So yeah, really excited about the node sales and all that node sales, I guess, like provide as a new way of helping to decentralize networks, and especially as AI and DePIN comes up, I think that's going to be a hotter kind of meta. We obviously, we're going to spread them out a little bit, not try and compress too many node sales, but we really want to be able to handle different types of launches. So nodes are definitely going to, if the node meta stays around, we'll definitely be around to kind of handle those at scale.
Interesting. That's a great one, I would say. So yeah, we have a couple of great lineup here. We have Kima Finance as well. We have Wetogo as well, Vijay Praveen as well. So there's a limit. I saw that there's a limit of almost 10 speakers only. So what we'll do, I apologize for that. So what we'll do, we'll rotate the speakers initially in conversation, so that everyone can have a fair chunk of introduction, and then we would do it in a way, if in case some speaker has some opinion around over some question, then they can raise their hand if they are not in the speaker panel, and then that way we will pull you up there. So up next we have Capex. So Weber from Capex is there. Weber, the stage is all yours.
Hey, hi guys. First of all, thank you so much to Cluster Protocol for having this space. I see some really good names as speakers, also as people who are like attending. So I'm the co-founder. I'm the CEO of Capex. Just to give you guys a quick brief on what Capex AI does. So we are essentially trying to build like an Ethereum layer two, and the whole objective is to essentially be able to enable the builders and developers of tomorrow to be able to build AI agents. And our approach is slightly different from, I would say, the other AI agentic layers or protocols. Our focus is more towards building a consumer layer rather than focusing too much on the model deployments. So our first offering is essentially building like an aggregation layer of all the LLM models which are out there, and this includes the open source models, the closed source models. We're essentially trying to create like an aggregation stack that any sort of a developer can essentially use, like an SDK, and then deploy their own AI agents. And this basically will enable multi-agent workflows. This will even enable any sort of agentic workflows in which, let's say, you are even leveraging, let's say, 10 different models in the same agent. So multi-model agents is also something which is like very much of a possibility using this SDK stack. And all of this people will be able to do with a verifiable inference which is posted on chain. So the idea is to essentially make it super duper easy for developers to essentially deploy agents. The beautiful part about this is that although yes, we are an Ethereum layer 2, but almost like to a huge degree we'll be chain agnostic. So there will be a bunch of contracts that you'll of course have to like deploy on our layer 2, but you could very much be doing operations on any other chain. Like let's say if you are a Web3 dApp, or even if you are a Web2 project, you'll be easily be able to like integrate us or deploy using us. And the idea is that you just get access to like multiple models, you get access to verifiable inferencing, you get access to like a payment stack, everything with the help of the SDK. And one of the core offerings which we offer here is that almost any sort of a user interaction which happens via our tech stack, via directly or indirectly, that user essentially gets a persona of itself created on the Capex chain, which by default essentially collects and encrypts almost all information and interaction that the user has with these models. So at all times, the user essentially can keep on, keep nurturing its persona and keep adding more and more data to its persona. And in future, it always has the ability to basically monetize that. So that's something just like it's like a huge offering, but it's something which just happens by default for every user, and they can always choose to like not monetize it as well. But just something which we are offering as part of like as part of the whole protocol, that every user basically gets their own user data set in a way which they can tomorrow like any sort of a third party application can essentially like request for monetization rights or any sort of usage rights on these user data sets, and these people can earn some sort of an extra side income. The idea is to create some sort of a net zero protocol where you're essentially making AI free and accessible to everyone, with the help of personal user data monetization. So yeah.
Uh, Sounds interesting. So yeah, that's a pretty lengthy introduction and a quite good one for focusing towards the consumer side of the AI layer. Now we have Dmail here with us. So yeah, would love to have an intro about email.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. My name's Daniel, and I'm the COO at Dmail Network. So Dmail is essentially building an AI-driven decentralized messaging infrastructure, which provides encrypted email, subscriptions, notifications, and also targeted marketing services across, I think we integrated more 25 chains last time I checked, and counting. So more integrations are on the way. And yeah, it's targeted for dApps, Web3 users, developers, and marketers alike. So what interested me about this space is obviously AI and DePIN. So the relevance of AI for Dmail is that obviously we recognize the transformative potential of AI in revolutionizing the way that we interact via Web3 communication platforms. And I think that the way we envisage AI-driven solutions to enhance user experience is through streamlining workflows and increasing productivity, essentially. So the way that we're doing that is we're building out an AI mail assistant. The mail assistant is an intelligent tool that leverages state-of-the-art natural language processing algorithms. And this essentially assists users in managing their email communications. So, for example, it can analyze the content of incoming emails, it can suggest relevant responses, and can also assist in drafting new messages based on user preferences, historical data, and so on. And then, of course, we've got the AI personal agent that we're building out. So this essentially acts as a digital concierge for users. The agent learns from user behavior, their preferences, their interactions, and provides personalized recommendations, prioritizes tasks, and automates routine activities. It could be something like scheduling meetings, organizing email threads, and when we have assets integrated into the platform, you'll be able to sort of send assets through the agent as well. And yeah, looking ahead, we're exploring advanced AI capabilities such as voice interaction, sentiment analysis, predictive analytics to further enhance user engagement and satisfaction. We also have something called the Subscription Hub and Marketing Hub, which are our main BN products. And AI will greatly assist in segmentation and user profiling there for Web3 marketing on our platform. With regards to Dmail, to DePIN, Dmail is actively building out relay nodes. So essentially, we'll be decentralizing our network through DePIN. For those that don't know, relay nodes essentially serve as the decentralized infrastructure, which will be responsible for routing, validating, and securing messages across the Dmail network. And these nodes will play a crucial role in ensuring that the integrity, privacy, and efficiency of data transmission within our ecosystem. So yeah, I think that's pretty much the overview and the relevance of DePIN and AI for Dmail. Thank you very much.
Sounds interesting. We have a couple of folks in the. So yeah, we have Wetogo here with us. So yeah, Wetogo, would love to have a short introduction of yours here.
Yeah, thank you, YJ. Thank you, Cluster, for inviting us. This is Jenny. I'm the head of marketing of Wetogo. So, Wetogo is a data intelligence network that is building the data preprocessing layer for decentralized AI. So, right now we have 3 products for now. One is called Analytics, which is an on-chain data platform, and which has supported Manta Network, Moonbeam, and BNB Chain with 90 plus dashboards and over 130 data sets. And 2, we have our on-chain AI agents creation and monetization platform Wiki. It has offers predictive intelligence solutions for users and our business partners. And 3rd, we have our newly launched product called Xdata, which is an off-chain data collection and utilization platform. And it deploys DePIN and DeSoc mode for a broader perspective on market trends. So right now, we are having our ongoing campaign called DePIN Alliance, and we are inviting all the projects in the AI plus data and also from DePIN sector to join us. So yeah, if you are interested in our ongoing campaign, please reach out to us, and we will send you the marketing proposal. Yeah, thank you, YJ. Thank you, Costa, again for this AMA. Thank you.
Interesting. So yeah, let's move ahead. Let me pull up a couple of other folks. We have Kima here. We have Pivot. We have Ashish Sood from Polytrade. If you guys are there, just send a request and we'll pull you up. Till then, I guess we are clear with all the intros here. Or is there anyone else left?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we are left with the Seri network, and then Bitscrunch, and I've been trying to pull up Pivot as well. Can you please try from your end once? And if we are not able to join you guys in speaker, can you please try to like once leave and join again? I think there's some technical issues that's been happening.
Okay. For Blitzcrunch, I saw Vijay was there. Let me find him in the panel down below.
Yeah, now maybe I'll quickly do the introduction. I'll try to keep it as short as possible so we can jump into the questions. So I'm Bren. I do ecosystem growth for Strat Network. It's a protocol that powers decentralized data clusters around the world. So we offer a whole range of tools for media, gaming, and AI applications. So you can easily leverage our infrastructure in your application. So I'm pretty confident there are some interesting partnerships possible with the people here in the panel.
Sure. Sounds interesting. We have Ashish here as well. Hey, Ashish.
Hi guys, how are you? It's a privilege to actually be among you guys. I'm seeing some great names in the speaker panel and the listener panel here.
So, yeah, like, just give a quick intro about you, about what you guys are building at Polytrade, maybe.
Sure, thank you. So hi, I'm Ashish. I'm Chief Product Officer at Polytrade. We at Polytrade are building a marketplace for real-world assets. We believe that currently all real-world asset players are playing in silos, and everybody's fighting their old battles. What we are trying to do is bring us all together. We are aggregating all of these players under one banner. It's kind of, you can think of like an OpenSea for real-world assets. We authored our own ERC. It's called 6960. We can wrap any other ERC into this one, which allows it to make it into a very seamless system for more expansion, secondary market. The ERC allows you to fractionalize. We've tried to tick all boxes we can to get more demand for real world assets, and that's what we're doing. We're creating demand here.
Interesting. We have been here as well from Strat Network, from Strat Network. So, hey, Ben.
Hi, hi. Thank you for for having me here. Yeah, my name is Bing Zhu. I'm the founder of the Strato Network. Strato Network is the decentralized infrastructure provider. We provide the blockchain and the storage. And this year, we will also launch our decentralized computing and database network. So, talk about the decentralized storage. Actually, it will be very important parts for the AI. Everyone knows when we talk about AI, we need to have algorithm, we need to have computing powered by GPU, but the GPU need to feed a lot of data from everywhere in the world. So the Strato decentralized storage is very suitable for this case. GPU is very expensive. Yeah, that's a very expensive resources. But how can we make sure all the data from the world can fit to the GPU in a second is the most important part. Compared with other decentralized storage, Strato storage is most efficient one. Where not only can beat with others competitors, we also can provide a similar performance like Google Drive. That's important. The other side, it doesn't matter where is your GPU, where is your data consumers. When you using when you use Stratos to upload your file, it doesn't matter from Europe, American, or Asian. And when you upload one copy from your side, there will be have at least 5 copies across the world. You don't need where is the data, but when you request it, they always provide you the service in the edge. So that's what we call Strato provide edge storage to speed up your GPU and in your business need. Yeah, that's Stratos. Thank you.
Great. Great. So, yeah, let us pull up Pivot Ventures as well as Kima Network. So we have sent a few requests. If in case you guys can accept the request, then
Hello guys, can you hear me? This is Pivot Shantanu here from Pivot.
yes, you're audible.
I'm audible. Okay, good. Thanks so much for having me here, YJ and Cluster Protocol. It's an amazing panel here. And just a short introduction about Pivot. Pivot is a global Web3 startup venture accelerator firm. We accelerate early stage startups that are ready for execution and have already got some validation for the ideas. So basically, somebody with at least an MVP in place. As an accelerator, our methodology focuses on the business milestones instead of a cohort-based or a time-bound program, which basically means that we will chalk out the milestone roadmap, setting with the selected startups founders, and then we accelerate them towards each milestone. So it's more of a one-on-one support, advisory, and intervention. And of course, we also run occasional masterclasses with mentors and industry leaders. Pivot has been founded by an industry veteran, Mr. Anshul Dheer, who's a serial entrepreneur. So before he was in the Web3 space, he was an entrepreneur there, and he was an entrepreneur later on with the 3 companies in the space. Pivot is his 4th venture, and as an individual, he has been helping multiple startups. I think probably about 50 startups in the last about 3.5 years. And as an angel, as an investor, as an advisor, and also as a mentor. And Pivot is his way of scaling this up. His earlier ventures up into a more professional and a more structured format, a more scaled up version of that. So yeah, so that's what we do, and we're happy to have Cluster Protocol as one of our accelerators who we're working with, and a fantastic team here that we're working together. Thank you very much, guys. Yeah.
Thank you, Shantanu, for your kind words. So yes, let's move ahead with introduction to Kima Finance, Kima Network. I'm sending a request to Kima Network right now.
Yeah, guys, actually, I did my own before. Probably it was in between when people were still waiting to join. So to those of you who did not hear, Kima Network is interoperability 2.0 solution. It's basically a communication layer. It's a unique blockchain novel technology that serves as a communication protocol that unifies the connection between all the decentralized and all of the centralized. A very unique blockchain. We're the first in the world to have an SDK and an API that enables centralized entities to connect directly into any blockchain in a completely decentralized manner. In addition, I can inform that our testnet now is live, and mainnet going live in June. We're backed by MasterCard, by FinSec Innovation Lab, who are also running our validator nodes. Yeah, and that's it. In a nutshell, we are not competing with any existing interoperability solution. Very important to say. So exactly like Google Android, when Android was presented to the world, Google did not replace the phone manufacturers, but basically upgraded the experience of all of the users and all of the phone manufacturers by presenting Android to be used by all of them. We're aiming to do exactly the same. Then no competition there. We're not competing with any other protocol. Yeah, we're blockchain agnostic, asset agnostic now and in the future. We're enabling banks to actually utilize RWAs and basically make our RWAs actually liquid and transferable and tradable, and not only solving the tokenization of the assets themselves. Yeah, and enables, again, any connection between any blockchain to any blockchain now and in the future, and flattening completely all of the interoperability curve to zero by presenting our unique novel technology, which is, by the way, also patented. 3 patents out there in the pipeline, 1 pending and 2 in provisional stage. And yeah, let's have fun, guys.
Awesome. That was an amazing introduction. Thank you so much. We also have IQ.wiki, and we are yet to get their introduction as well. So please feel free to introduce yourself.
Thank you. I'm Navin, the chief brain at IQ Wiki. We're the largest blockchain encyclopedia, and we have thousands of wikis on cryptocurrency topics from cluster protocol to blockchain itself to Ethereum to Denkun. And we used all of that great data to train and build the first AI assistant for crypto, which is IQGPT.com. And basically, IQGPT.com is like an assistant for crypto, and it's like an expert that anyone can talk to. The way I learned personally about crypto was from my co-founders, who also co-founded the IQ token and Frax. But most people don't have access to that, so we created IQGPT.com as the next best thing. So basically, anyone can just ask questions and get answers very simply and understand concepts, because we found that that's a much easier and better way to learn. It's free to use and anyone can try it out. We also have a Discord and Telegram integration. So in the cluster protocol, Telegram has integrated it, and basically it's trained on clusters data. So you can ask anything from the wiki or from their website, and it will answer you quickly and give you an answer. It also integrates price data. And then we are currently building IQ Code, which will be the first AI for smart contracts, and it'll be designed for AI auditing to ensure to prevent bugs and to so that people can quickly check code faster than a bug bounty or or a auditing firm. And it's all run by the IQ token, and everything is governed by BrainDAO, which manages the IQ ecosystem.
Amazing. That was very interesting. As we explore the AI and DePIN space, I would like to tell audience, please feel free to ask questions in the comments. We have 500 USDT reward pool, and the most exciting questions will be discussed. So yeah, so let's get started. I do have like few questions already that we've been receiving in the comments. So like AI powered trading and investment strategies can potentially exploit market inefficiency. How do we regulate this without stifling innovation? So this is the question like one of the members have asked. So anyone would like to take that? I think
Again,
we can.
if you can please repeat the beginning of the question, because I think some of it was cut off, maybe only for me.
Yeah, sure. So AI powered trading and investment strategies can potentially exploit market inefficiency. How do we regulate this without stifling innovation?
Oh, okay. Then, to those of you who do not know, it's already there. It's already happening. Like it has been happening since basically the age of time. Like AI trading in the stock markets. So probably since all of you guys, maybe even me, being the old guy, were born. So, trading in AI was here since ever. The models are getting, of course, all the time smarter. But also important to say, guys, that, AI became like a kind of trendy word, now since ChatGPT, we're all suddenly speaking about AI. But, I remember AI when we used to play video games in the 80s, playing Doom game, when you will have an enemy that knows where you are and moves according to you and shoots back at you. Well, was it AI? It was very probably early stages of AI, So when we're discussing AI, it's important to mention, guys, that these things have been around since like forever. The thing is that they're only becoming more accessible to everyone, and the models are becoming much, much smarter due to the computing power that we have today, and due to, layers built upon layers, who basically enhance the innovation around us and enables what we are witnessing today. So to the question, how these things can be stopped? Well, they cannot be stopped. They will not be stopped, and probably will not be regulated. People who think that they can regulate AI and regulate models and basically regulate everything that is not under their control and they can basically not control is completely mistaken, and especially in the decentralized world, right? Like, the blockchain is completely, decentralized. Data is decentralized. There's no one entity that controls about it. We can argue if it's decentralized or not, and spend hours about it. But basically now, guys, you cannot control it, and especially not AI models or living in a harnessing power of the blockchain in order to operate. Then I hope that this helps explain what actually is going on.
If I can quickly jump in, I have a friend actually who works in a company as one of 1,000 developers. He is one of 1,000 developers, not any other kind of profession company, like employees, but developers working for a company that is responsible for 10% of the world's trades. They've been building algorithms and machine learning algorithms for trading probably for the last 10 years. So, really, to second what Thomas said, it's been done for ages, and the biggest players in the real financial ecosystem have been using ML models, AI, and building huge infrastructures, like their own infrastructures, for running those models for ages. So, us joining the party, if we wish, it's kind of already late. But luckily, due to the popularity of AI and what happened right now, what ChatGPT brought as a revolution, many more people being aware of it, at least hopefully we have a chance to play a part in it, right? To join the party, quite late, but still join the party. So yeah, I think that really to second Tomer, I think that the regulation is a bit already an outdated term, because companies, banks have been doing it forever, really.
Yeah, and just to, sorry.
If you don't mind, I'll quickly
please.
touch on that as well. When it comes to regulation and trading, there is regulation for trading. So using AI to get rid of market inefficiencies in an open competitive market, that is the whole point of having a open competitive market. The goal is to get rid of those inefficiencies, whether it's through our own intelligence or artificial intelligence. We don't need specific regulation for that. We need, and we have regulation for market manipulation, whether it's manual or through AI. So we don't need specific regulation for that, in my opinion. And the fact that we're now using AI, or we have been using AI to remove market inefficiencies, is just very normal in an open and competitive market. It's just the next step to optimize the market itself.
Couldn't agree more.
Awesome. So should we move on to the next question that we have from the community?
I think Mark wanted to say something as well before I cut him off, so sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries. I was really just going to say much of what's been said before. I think the competitive element of the way markets operate is something that I think it's important to understand, that competitive doesn't mean fair, right? If someone figures something out in a better or more intelligent way than you, then they're going to have an advantage, and they're allowed to have that advantage. And I think AI, as everyone's kind of just mentioned, is very much the next step in that advantage. So there will be companies that take advantage of this new technology sooner than others, just like there were, companies and hedge funds that took advantage of satellite imagery before others made the connection between, oil prices and the height of the height of floating lids on large tankers, right? I think it's a natural progression of the efficiency of the market, as we spoke about before. But just because it's natural, just because it's competitive, doesn't mean it's fair. So I think some people will get there first, and that'll be really interesting for those companies.
Awesome. Thank you for adding your perspective as well. We have question from Yeminis. So she has asked, AI models can inherit biases from the data they are trained on. How can DePIN ensure its algorithm treat users fairly regardless of background? So anyone would like to take that question?
Yeah, maybe repeat one more time. Sorry.
Yeah, sure. AI models can inherit biases from the data they are trained on. How can DePIN ensure its algorithm treat users fairly regardless of background?
Yeah, I think blockchain can create more transparency also in the way where data is coming from, which data is being used, and how it's being used to train on. Of course, it's up to the companies to decide how open they are. I mean, you can use decentralized storage, encrypt everything, and still make it a black box. But I do think DePIN and blockchain have an opportunity to make it more transparent and more clear.
I think the challenge here is that data does have inherent bias in some ways, right? So the internet is something that has been filled with information from maybe Western communities for slightly longer than it has in maybe other more developing markets, right? So I think there are natural sort of biases across the spectrum of data that contribute to what models are trained on. I think interestingly, we often also make mistakes when we're correcting for those biases. And I think Google made some very big public errors in this space just about a month ago with their latest kind of Gemini models. So I think, to be honest, it's something that we're probably more aware of as a community as a result of these failures than we would be otherwise. I think companies like Google, like OpenAI, are actively looking to address these issues. But funnily enough, I think the way that they do it is kind of pushing a lot of people in the market to ask whether they should be the ones, because by addressing bias, you're also generating a form of censorship, and this is an interesting challenge that I don't think the market yet knows how to address. I think as we transition to maybe less generalized, more specific, smaller models that are more regional, more kind of built for, I guess Jensen calls it sovereign AI models that are kind of structured around the sovereignty of different nations and cultures. I think that will probably be a way that these biases are addressed, but in very large generalized models, I think not only do we really not know, I guess, how to do it, but also the question of who should be doing it and whether that's kind of censorship in itself is kind of a follow-on issue that we're struggling with at the moment.
If I chime in on this one, I think the solution isn't in really trying to nail down, especially as Mark said, who is supposed to judge what is biased and what is not, right? So the key bit is to actually create an environment where everyone, okay, has all the resources necessary to train the models that they don't want to. In fact, what you could argue that Google's one wasn't biased. It's what it wanted to do. Was it horrible and was it funny? Yes, but what's the solution? Try to get them to be less horrible and less funny. Sure, but why don't we all have the tools and the resources necessary to train our less horrible models on one that is more accommodating or more consistent with our own worldviews or our own biases. Maybe the solution is an open playing field, a level playing field where every single model, which kind of reflects the biases of its trainers, can thrive. And then it becomes a competition between models and not so much a situation of saying that this big model needs to change, because there's probably not going to be one set of beliefs that will satisfy or be consistent with everybody else's beliefs. So I think DePIN or blockchain in general, especially what Kip is trying to do here, is to give everyone those tools. You're not happy about what you see out there in, say, Web 2 or in centralized AI space, grab the tools and train your own.
Yeah, I have several things I want to see. This is a great questions right now because most of the big companies, they really want to make the AGI happen in 2027 or 2028. Most of the people, they don't have ability to contribute to algorithm, to module. And most people, they also don't have ability to have the GPU card to contribute their computer to train the AI. So where's the major or critical stuff for AI is data, right? The data is the soul of the AI. It doesn't matter how GPU you have, how strong it is. It doesn't matter what kind of module you have. The data will decide the result. A simple example, if you just give AI a picture like a dog, the AI, after AI training, they will tell you this is a dog. But if you give AI a picture, it's a dog, but you tell them, oh, this is the yellow dog, this is the Labradoodle, this kind of dog, they are very family friendly. What kind of scenario you can have this dog for your kids? But if you want to have this dog to protect your family, no, that is not possible. When you give all that information to AI, after trained, the AI will be more smart. Okay, so I want to use example to tell you, data is the one who makes the final result of the AI. Okay, when we understand this part, we go back to the question you have, is Google had a problem a month ago, right? At the same time, actually, Google, Facebook, or X, they also have their censorship. They also have their regulation on their platform, right? So in this case, actually, when they have their own regulation on their platform, they filter some data they don't like. So when they train the data, actually, their regulation is affect their result by themselves. Okay, they kill themselves. So in this case, if they really want to make the real AI or decentralized result or the better result for most of the people, I think the good way is not only OpenAI, not only Google or any big company, they decide what kind of data set they want to feed to the AI. We should have like Web3. Everyone who is qualified to participate should be us, everyone in the world. We can contribute the data. Not only data contributed by region of the people or by everyone. So in that case, the data set somehow should be fair. And all that fair data sent to the AI after training, I think that result should be good for most of the humankind. So in this case, what we could do, what DePIN could do is, like the DePIN, decentralized physical infrastructures, we should support everyone. It doesn't matter where you are, you contribute, or you participate in this DePIN network. You contribute your data. It doesn't matter good one, bad one, relevant to people, to animal, anything. You contribute it. And we let the decentralized AI project, like cluster everyone, to use your GPU to train it. I think that will be good result. Maybe at the beginning it's not as powerful as the one who give to you like Google, OpenAI, but eventually I think this is the most strong power contribute by Web3 world, by human being. It's not only be managed or be modified by the big company. I think that's the goal for us. Actually, that's the goal for AI and for DePIN. That's what we should contribute because everyone is behind that. Okay, thank you. That's my opinion.
That was really cool. Finally, I'll be able to speak once again. Just can you confirm, YJ, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes, you are audible.
Cool. So before moving on to any tech question, I would love to ask, since there are a couple of angel investors and VCs in the space, if Mr. Joe from Fomocraft Ventures would love to pull up as a speaker, and I guess MH Ventures also there. So I would love to, ask these guys. So market right now is flooded with a lot of AI and DePIN projects, and since this narrative is going to be very hot for next couple of few months, so what is your thesis that you can share with a lot of retail investors that have joined the space, that can be helpful for them to actually pick good gems, and where they can participate in early and get some gains, because I think everyone is in it for the tech, but you need some bucks as well to stay in for the tech. Can you please pull up MH Ventures, and if Mr. Joe is interested from Fomocraft Ventures?
Yes, let me send the request and see their interest.
I think if Tomer is here, he can also meanwhile answer this, since he's been investing into a lot of AI projects since a while.
I believe he left the space a couple of minutes back. But
Okay, I see Eclipse guys over
yeah,
here,
Simon
so
is
if you
there.
guys would
Simon
love to
would
go ahead,
also be the right person there.
cool. Hi Simon, can you come up and maybe take this? Am I audible, you thought?
Yes, you are audible. Maybe Simon might be having some internet connectivity issue, or if Simon you are speaking, then unfortunately you're on mute, so we are not able to hear your voice.
Yeah, can you unmute yourself, Simon, and maybe take this
Is it
question?
me? Is it me you're asking? I
Now it's
wasn't
good.
sure. Like, or a
Yeah,
different
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Simon.
yeah. We were asking. Yeah. Yes,
Is it is
Simon.
is it me? Can you repeat the
Yes,
question?
yes.
Sorry, I heard about you were talking about
Yeah,
VCs, and then so I wasn't sure if there's another Simon.
yeah. We'll repeat the question. So, Simon, right now, you see the market has been flooded with a lot of AI and DePIN projects, and since this narrative is going to be hot for next few months, so what do you think, should be a retailer's thesis to pick up right projects to invest in, and how they can maximize their gains?
So you're talking about like retail investing in AI projects and knowing how to pick them
Yes,
early
retail,
on.
and what is your point of view as well to bring good projects to your launchpad?
Yeah, it's quite difficult to be honest. Like we're very lucky to have a very strong like DD and analyst team. Our head of analyst was part of a very very large DeFi protocol and is across a lot of AI and a lot of space. So we're kind of really lucky to have that as when we sift through projects and these AI projects. Um, we're actually looking, funny enough, into a lot of risk components of AI, like like a lot of protocols trying to combine like AI and DeFi and doing all sorts of things. And I think risk is something that maybe isn't talked about enough, and is something that we actually dove deep on to ensure that it's like sustainable models around AI. I think it's quite hard for your average retail person to navigate that landscape a bit because it's so complex as a topic. The same thing with DePIN as well and AI. Like, how does a retail person actually process, this information is something they don't know anything about, right? There's such technical language. So for us, we see a lot of AI stuff. We say no to a lot of AI stuff. Some of it's obviously based on DD, and some of it's based on timing in the market. This is quite difficult, when you have a retail community, because there's a lot of launch pads out there that are launching a lot of AI stuff and projects left, right, and center, and a lot of it we say no to because it doesn't it doesn't fit our DD. It doesn't pass our DD, but from the retail, a token pump may look, a project might do really well and the token might pump, but actually if you do deep DD on it, you might find that there's not much behind it. So it is definitely challenging, and it's challenging for us as a launchpad because we've committed to like very long-term focus and being very selective with our DD. And we do sacrifice some stuff in the interim, right? Like if we went out and launched every AI project out there in the short term, we might actually do much better in some capacity. But our commitment to kind of our vision, our branding, and our community is that we'll do that strong DD and that we'll be very focused on that. So the way that we kind of position, I guess, is to really focus the long game. Now, the other challenge in the space as well with this the AI stuff is that sometimes DD, I mean, we've seen a couple projects out there that have decent backers that also have problematics on that front. So it's difficult, but I'd say overall, like looking at like specific levels of backers is definitely helpful on this front because like again, I don't know who to go to recommend a retail person to actually find out like a deep dive due diligence on this space. Like if anyone knows and has ideas of like externally from a launchpad doing research or a VC doing research, who do you go to for like authority in this space? Because the KOLs may not know this either, right? Unless you've got a very strong authority figure in that. So we are to recap, we're kind of blessed to have really strong experts in it. Maybe there's like Delphi Ventures or like Delphi Digital or other kind of parties have subscriptions or deeper dives where they go into more of the information on AI and more of the projects that might be helpful. But it's going to take a long time for someone who's retail necessarily to get up to speed on a lot of this stuff.
It's quite interesting, and I truly believe like for retails to participate, I think they can follow Launchpad's DD and bigger relevant VCs doing their DD. So I guess Aether Cloud is also here. So I would love to ask you guys. So since your node sales were quite hot recently, so I think what you're trying to build is consumer grade GPU network, if I'm not wrong, for gaming infra, right? So what this has been a long debate since long that you cannot rely on consumer grade infra for doing inference and training for AI. So would you love to throw some light on that? I guess Mark, if you're there from Aether team.
Yeah, sure. So actually, I'm not sure if you did this on purpose, but actually, we're actually the opposite of what you just said. So we don't touch consumer GPUs at all. We're 100% enterprise grade for the exact reason that you just said, right? The majority of kind of compute DePINs will aggregate consumer GPUs because it's the easiest way in general to aggregate a large amount of compute, right? You can kind of solve that cold start chicken and the egg problem by taking your token and incentivizing gamers and people with high-end desktop PCs to kind of contribute their compute to your network and earn some tokens. The challenge is, like you articulated, the challenge is that it's incredibly difficult, if not impossible, at the moment to package that compute and sell it to the type of companies that are doing enterprise grade inferencing or training workloads, right? Effectively, you end up aggregating a bunch of compute that you can't really sell. And that's a difficult and not ideal situation for a DePIN project to be in. So at Aether, we took a very different approach, right? We took the approach of aggregating exclusively enterprise grade GPUs, right? So every GPU within Aether's network is sitting inside a data center or contributed to kind of an enterprise grade network infrastructure, specifically chosen and curated to meet all of the SLAs of these massive enterprise cloud buyers. We come from a gaming background. Actually, our team, we all met while we were building cloud gaming infrastructure. We looked at some of the performance and scalability challenges of that cloud gaming infrastructure and asked ourselves the question, could we do better? Could we solve this in a better way if we were building on top of a decentralized ecosystem? We tested it out, and realized that, yeah, we could. This was something that was really fascinating. For those of you that don't know, cloud gaming is effectively just the delivery of high performance GPU resources in a very low latency environment. But also on the customer or the client side for cloud gaming, it's all enterprise focused. You don't have kind of individuals purchasing cloud gaming resources. It all comes from enterprise compute buyers and then distribute it to their customers. So from day one, even on the gaming side, we were already focusing exclusively on enterprise customers. So when we made the decision, a year or two ago to start offering AI compute infrastructure, right? The high performance compute side, the H100s, the A100s, right? The transition was pretty clear for us. We knew that our network was built to service enterprise customers as our end client. How do we do the same thing with AI? It was a difficult decision, right? Because obviously we were then choosing essentially to aggregate the most scarce resource in the world, right? These enterprise grade AI GPUs. It wasn't a decision that we decided to do lightly, but I like to think of us as kind of doing the hard work early, and now as a result of that, we have this incredibly powerful network. We have between 3,000 and 5,000 H100s contributed to our ecosystem, by far magnitudes more than the nearest competitor in the Web3 space, and we're serving some of the biggest AI companies in the world on at a scale that no one else is really able to deal with, as a result of the fact that they've primarily built a network on consumer grade equipment. So yeah, we feel very strongly on the viability limits of consumer grade compute infrastructure, and as a result, that's why we've built such a strong and well populated enterprise grade infrastructure at Aether.
I think the question was
That's
direct.
really cool.
Oh,
Actually, I think I got confused. That's why, I might messed it up. So, so if a retail wants to, do personal inference or training, can they hop onto Aether Cloud and get resources, or you guys are only dealing with enterprises right now? And how is your plan to scale up the resources on your clouds, on your platform? Do you want to do it by increasing the demand, or you have the resources already available and now you're scaling the business part of it?
Yeah, I think there's always, with any marketplace, there's always kind of a supply demand balance that you need to meet. I think the smart way, or the most common way to manage that is have supply lead demand, right? You don't want to be in a situation where you're turning away deal flow or opportunities. I mean, it's a good problem to have in some respect, but you'd much rather be in a situation where you can say yes. For us, we've been focusing on both sides of the marketplace for a while. I think we've gotten very good at the supply side. I think we've unlocked some. I think that we have a bit of a competitive edge. I think in how we aggregate our supply. Our infrastructure is very easy to connect to. We know pretty clearly now the types of companies that are underutilizing their equipment. How do we find them? How do we identify them? Where are they? And I think that's proven to be a really useful competency to have developed. On the demand side, I think we're very lucky. The AI sector is booming. I think it's maturing in a number of different places. I think, of course, there's this large amount of compute being dedicated via the hyperscalers to just the small number of very, very powerful models. But there's also a lot more smaller, more specialized, more fragmented kind of models that are being deployed and trained for more specific use cases. And I think these are in particular very interesting for projects like ours, where yes, we have large enterprise workloads, but you definitely wouldn't say, even if you aggregated every piece of high performance compute across Web3, you probably wouldn't be able to service a meaningful percentage of OpenAI's compute requirements, right? no one in the space is at that level or even close to it. But certainly the smaller, small to medium sized enterprises, we're absolutely able to serve.
That was quite an interesting insight. I think Capex is also here, so I would love to invite them to introduce themselves. I think we haven't heard from them in the
No,
space. So,
so they have introduced what they are building. But yeah, we can pull them up. I'll try to pull them up once again if it's possible. Active speakers.
Yeah,
Okay.
hey
I have.
guys, I'm here. Yeah,
uh,
I'm here.
Cool.
Yeah, I did get a chance to introduce myself. Thank you so much for that, and would love to take up any of the questions if possible.
cool. So, Anjali, do you have any questions from the listeners in the bucket? Maybe we can ask a wonderful guest about them and then quickly wrap this space up.
Yeah, sure. So I do have a lot of questions. One of them is Gemini recently stated its token size is significantly larger than other popular LLMs. What real world advantages could this unlock for chatbot applications?
Yeah, I think I'll be more than happy to take that one. So yeah, I believe you're talking about the context window, which essentially, yeah, I believe Gemini is probably one of the biggest context window in production out there right now, with more than 1 million tokens with respect to context window. So it's pretty neat, honestly, what they have been able to unlock. What that means or what that translates to with like real life use cases is that you can literally upload transcripts of entire 3 hours, 4 hours of podcasts, entire movies, scripts, entire books. Is again like I honestly haven't tried myself using a 1 million context window, but um, in theory you should be able to add maybe more than even one book entirely, and or how essentially that experience would look like is and this is something which currently I would say that not a lot of people have been able to like when I say people I mean like general public hasn't been able to get their hands on essentially because it's not really a very super common use case, but I think it will just become more and more common moving forward, is that the you're essentially the decision making essentially is happening not just purely on the training data, but you are sort of it's like you're basically adding some sort of an extra brain power to the model. So you're essentially giving it a huge context in terms of tokens for it to be able to now make a decision based on that extra information which is outside of its training data. So that's essentially real time to some degree. That's like real time thinking. It's pretty interesting how they are doing that because it's a new algorithm which kind of resembles gradient descent in when they're essentially like breaking down that context of this huge number of tokens. But it's somewhat was somewhat of an experiment that they essentially like began with, and then it kind of like became bit of a challenge that they were able to essentially like towards the end of it able to solve. From an end user perspective, like one of the biggest applications with respect to chatbots would be that you would be like again just one of the thousand different applications could be that when you are essentially asking a question to your chatbot, if your chatbot has the access of your entire email and let's say all your WhatsApp chats that you've ever done. So let's say your 3 years of WhatsApp chats, text has been passed on as part of the context. Then the output that you'll be getting out of that model will will essentially be so hyper contextual to you as a user. I mean, it's mind blowing, honestly. What we'll be able to do with such huge context windows. The only challenge right now is that it's not super easy for especially open source models to be able to replicate such huge context windows. But yeah, anyway, I see someone raising their hand, so I'll let them participate as well.
Oh yeah, I know. Sorry, I just wanted to jump in. It's Jen, Chief AI Officer at Kip, because this is something that we're super excited about. Actually, the long context models, not just Gemini, but also state space models like Mamba. And I just saw a new paper out today about Kolmogorov Arnold networks, which is a totally new thing, which seems also very exciting. But yeah, our sort of whole specialization lies in decentralized RAG, so that is retrieval augmented generation, which is basically exactly what was just described, this idea that rather than training a whole new model, you give it access to the data that it doesn't have, that it hasn't been trained on, via a context window, or via retrieving it from the internet, or via retrieving it from your chat history. And until now, this was kind of limited. You had to be really careful which snippets you picked, because you were wasting valuable tokens in the context window. But now we have access to these really long context models. It makes it super interesting. It means that before we used to have models that would have a long-term memory, which was the parameterized trained memory, and then models and they also had a short-term memory, which was the basic conversation history, the last few questions you asked, but no medium-term memory. And what this basically does is gives it a medium-term memory. So that is really what we're focusing on at Kip, and what we're trying to bring to the public as quickly as possible. These retrieval augmented generation models that we definitely believe are going to be the future. These very custom, personalized models that will answer stuff based on your history and your preferences and your data, rather than just feeding you the generic bland GPT answer. So yeah, I just wanted to jump in and say how much I really like these long context models. But yeah, thank you very much.
Cool, that's what's really interesting. I would quickly love to ask one or two more questions. So I think right now we are progressing ahead in this AI and DePIN space, right? And what I've heard, and I see a lot of startups have already started getting funded. So I would love to know quick insights about intent-based AI from our wonderful speaker panel. If anyone could do that, I think Capex, you, or maybe Neurochain, or someone from KIP team could give some insights on intent-based AI models and how they're being shaped up. And if you have some alpha over there, do drop that as well.
Sorry, did you say agent, or I couldn't hear? It was okay.
Intent-based AI and intent-based AI agents. Yes.
I will let someone else take that, because that is not my specialization. But I think there's someone else here whose it is. So yeah.
Yeah, I can probably like give you a general overview of how that would essentially look like. Um, Again, like I think we like Capex AI has very similar, I would say, kind of overlaps, at the same time potential partnership opportunities with Kip protocol. I feel like both of us are can find some grounds to essentially have some sort of partnership, but more than anything, so these user personas that we are incentivizing for people to essentially build, which almost by default keep on building as you interact with more and more LLM models or AI agents. Any sort of intent based AI agents essentially would like what that would translate to would be that in order to recognize any sort of a human intent, you would probably need a lot of contextual data around the user. And this contextual data doesn't necessarily have to be like doesn't necessarily have to come from the user at every inferencing opportunity that the user has with any sort of a model. So the idea, or essentially how we can essentially imagine this, would be that if I'm talking to Siri and you're talking to Siri, both of our Siris should ideally be very different, because both the users come from very different backgrounds. We come from different hometowns. We are living in different geographical locations. We have a different demographic. We have a very different psychographic as well. So we have different preferences and behaviors online, as well as on chain. So if you were to ask the same thing to Siri and I was to ask the same question to Siri, or essentially not just a question, but essentially some sort of an action to Siri. I'm just using Siri as a placeholder for some sort of an AI assistant, on some sort of an AI agent. Then the way that that sort of an AI agent would essentially take action, process information, make a decision, and take action at the end of the day would be very contextual to both of us. So even though both of us have asked Siri to, let's say, buy groceries, you would have completely different, uh, like your cart would basically look very different from mine. Your delivery times and your payment methods would look very different to you from mine. But the idea is that this sort of AI agents should be able to basically understand the intent, the user, understand the user, their background, their location, their gender, their sex, and all of those things, and be able to, order any sort of these things or take actions basically on the behalf of the users. So sort of autonomous AI agents, but at the same time they are very they're able to recognize intent at the end of the day, which I believe is of course something that we are heading towards.
That's great insight. Thank you. So, is there anyone else who would love to add to it, or maybe we can take the next question? Cool, I guess there's no one who wants to add something. So I think this is a general question to all of the panel members and specifically cluster protocol. So what I have seen right now and what I personally experienced, right? I've experienced Akashnet, IO.net. I could not get chance to experience Aether Cloud. But right now, if I would have to deploy an AI model, right? Hugging Space in Web 2 is a great platform, but there's still a lot of challenges, right? So for someone who is managing a small medium enterprise, right, how are we simplifying it? Because earlier, you need to be professionally need to be qualified to run a computer, and then computer was simplified, and then everyone has cell phones in their hand and they can just click on the apps and do it. So how are we progressing over there, and how you guys are doing it simplified to anyone run AI for their use cases? I would love to start it with YJ, and then other panel members can take it, because what I truly believe is internet and computer empowered the generation ahead, and I think if we could simplify AI and make it more accessible and do consumerization of AI, I think that could also empower the future generation and could do wonders. So yeah, YJ, would love to know your insight and maybe a quick word about it from every of our panel member.
Sure. So the very first thing that you asked about accessibility, for making something accessible, you need to provide them the thing within clicks. So the thing that you talked about is the revolution through the computers and then the revolution through the cell phones. The similar revolution need to happen in this the AI space as well, and that's why we call us as GitHub for AI models, as well as we claim to be actually consumerizing the AI space. By saying that we are actually consumerizing the AI space is that we are providing them a platform or an infrastructure or an open playground for anyone and literally anyone, be it small enterprises, medium enterprises, or maybe AI developers or AI engineers or AI enthusiasts, to come to us to maybe lend either the data that they need, the compute that they need, or maybe the what you say, the base AI model if they need. And it's integrated in such a way that within few clicks you get your customized AI solution ready, and that too is ready and ready for use, and you can even integrate that in your own solution using our API and SDK kit maybe. And if in case you would love to sell that solution, that AI agent ahead, something like of a GPT-4 subscription in terms of $20 per month, that could also be possible on Cluster Protocol. So at Cluster Protocol, it's a layer or an infrastructure for anyone to come, and it's an open playground to experiment and to build anything they would love to experiment with in AI. So that was my 2 cents around. We have Jin as well from KIP. Would love to give the mic to her.
Oh, great. Thank you. Yeah, I would say that the KIP has a very similar ethos, maybe with sort of more of an an emphasis, I would say, on the RAG side of things currently, but with a strong ambition to get more into training in the future. Because what we really believe is that currently we have this impression that AI is a single industry, like, you know, and it's the industry that belongs to OpenAI and it belongs to Anthropic and these huge companies that serve apps and they serve models and they have huge data sets and all the rest of it. And what we're trying to make people aware of is the fact that no, AI is actually really 3 industries or more if you want to get down to it and you want to get into the nitty-gritty about cybersecurity and guardrails and all the rest of it. But the 3 major industries are data provision, which we're all currently doing for free without getting paid. There's the app makers, which are the guys who design the prompts and they make the front end and they collect the money and make a nice UX. And it's important to remember that, you know, ChatGPT, which kickstarted it all, is an app. It's not a model. It's an app that connects to a model. And then finally, you have the guys who get the most hype, the model makers, who right now, again, most of them are just, you know, putting their weights on Hugging Face for free, and the models never get used because there's no really easy way for them to get these models in front of the public. Essentially, right now we have something like 500,000 models on Hugging Face, and they're really just, you know, inert boxes full of linear algebra because it's so hard for regular people to use them. And a lot of them are great models. You know, they have uncensored llama. They have code models that will do illicit stuff like White Rabbit Neo. Sorry, all the models I'm citing right now are ones for doing bad things in particular. But they have custom image models where you can do your specific anime style and everything. And it's really interesting. And if people could get at these things, they would absolutely use them. So yeah, our vision, I think, is to find a way to just let people stick a straw straight into those models and suck the goodness out of it.
If I may chip in.
That was great. Capex, do you want to add something to it?
Not really, no, nothing from my end. Thank you so much. Yeah.
If I may chip in, can you hear me?
Cool. Do you guys want to add something, IQ Wiki?
I'm
Or
sorry.
maybe we can take.
I'm sorry, Cryptomyth. I think we have Strat Network. Like.
Yeah, I don't mind.
Cool. Could you please pull them over as a speaker?
Yeah, I am speaking, but it seems like some people are not being heard. So I could hear the previous speaker.
I think Neurochain is trying to speak.
Yeah. Sorry. Sorry. Neurochain. Yeah.
I wasn't sure if I am somehow something happened to my mic, but I just wanted to kind of chip in and actually touch upon, like, you know, answer this question by also touching upon the previous question around consumer grade hardware DePIN. And connecting the two. So actually, like at Neurochain, we started by quantizing most popular AI models on Hugging Face to make sure that they are compatible with the consumer grade hardware before we started connecting the consumer grade hardware into a network to execute those models. So our way of making models and AI development more accessible and easier kind of to understand and use for general developers is basically by connecting the quantized models, the optimized models, with the DePIN network that is attractive from cost perspective, and also infinitely scalable. So it's kind of like providing the UX essentially for developers to have an easy playground, an easy way to actually copy paste an API and connect those models into whatever applications that they are using. And then, just as easy, run it on a consumer grade hardware at a fraction of the cost of corporate grade hardware is basically how Neurochain AI is addressing that issue. And hopefully, very soon we are having our public launch of the developer portal, which is already kind of like live and being tested by developers in the private testnet. But I really hope that, all of us here really are playing a huge role in making sure that we're bringing the next billion or even, more people by enabling developers to build and to have more efficient tools for building the future of AI. And I think that, there are so many synergies between us, and we have our own ways of how we're going to market the kind of technology that we're building and adding to this future of AI. And I think that, also partnering and making sure that we're sharing those resources and, building almost association is something that will help us to build that future together and grow essentially into the Web 2 space, which is, I bet, like everybody's wish and hope for the future.
Interesting. That's quite insightful. So I guess, yeah, it's a pretty hefty space. It's almost 1 hour 45 minutes since we are live. So let's
Yeah,
conclude the space. Let's have final words from
yeah,
the speakers here, and maybe we can start with IQ Wiki.
yeah. Or if I can quickly just touch on the last point as well. So like with Siri, we're focused on the data aspect, of course. But just like most DePIN projects, we're trying to level the playing field as well. And in our case, we do that through decentralized clusters. I know for some applications you will need enterprise grade hardware, and that's the same for data. So by setting up different clusters, you can set up your SLAs, you can set up your requirements, and you can say we need this enterprise grade of hardware. But at the same time, somebody else can make a cluster and say, hey, for these and these applications, we don't need that enterprise level. And then you can use consumer grade hardware, and then you can provide data much, much cheaper. Or you can even say, I want to have a data cluster very specific, super close to the edge, super close to where your users are, for example, on a city level, and say, we're going to engage with all the people there because they are our consumers, and we're going to use their storage and their resources locally, and we're going to set up a cluster specifically for that area. And I think that's really where the future is when it comes to resources, really get them there where they are needed. And I think DePIN makes that possible because AWS and Google, they cannot go build data centers in every little city, right? And I think with DePIN, you allow to spin up resources and organize everything very quickly and very efficiently. And I think that's where the power is with this whole space.
Interesting. So yeah, let's move on to KIP protocol.
Jen, you want to take this one?
Yeah. So
Oh, yeah, sure. Well, I will. Oh, can you hear me? Okay.
yes, you are audible.
Hello. Oh, okay. Cheers. But no, all I wanted to say is that I will end this space in the same way I end every space by saying we're all going to make it.
The classico, El Clasico. So yeah, let's move on to Capex. I'm not. So to be honest, there are just 4 speakers that I'm able to see: IQVT, KIP protocol, human level. That's Jin, I believe, and Capex. Apart from that, if there are any other speakers, then I would request you to drop a 2 cents around, and then let's end the space on high note.
The one who is not being heard. So if I may chip in, I think like absolutely it was an amazing space, you know, having the biggest players in the industry right now in one space is super, super amazing. And I've been kind of like thinking and formalizing my ideas as well and jotting some down. But really to end it, from my perspective, you know, Mark Zuckerberg was a developer in a college dorm. Bezos was also hiring a couple developers out of his garage to build the biggest corporation of this world. So we at Neurochain AI, and I hope that a lot of us here in the space believe in, you know, those developers with huge visions that will build the future digital solutions powered by AI that will be the biggest organizations in the world. Hopefully, much more just, hopefully much more inclusive to you know, everyone, and much more unbiased, sharing the rewards with the community rather than consolidating it in the hands of a few players. And I really hope that we can partner in building that future that empowers those small and big developers with the visions of the future AI model businesses to build and come and join us early on as we are right now here in the free AI space. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Adita, for your kind words. So I guess so. Yeah, if there's anyone else who is left, they can take it up.
I think IQ.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, just to conclude for everybody, I would say for anyone who's listened, and thank you to everyone who joined. If you want to really get involved in the AI space, one of the things I would highly recommend is to try out these protocols. So if you're interested in investing, if you're interested in getting involved in earning some tokens or getting involved in a project, the best thing to do, in my opinion, is to actually try out the products and see how it is and learn from that. So with us, you can do that with iqgpt.com. On the site itself or in telegrams like Cluster Protocol that support it. So I'd highly recommend that because there's a lot of great AI products here and for everyone to try them out.
A great one. So yeah, it was pleasure hosting the giants of the DePIN space, and it was a insightful evening. So yeah, I would like to thank to all the participants as well as to all the associate sponsors, as well as who hopped into the Twitter space. So thank you everyone for joining in. This is YJ signing off, uh, and I will see you back in some other banger Twitter space on X Spaces here itself. So thank you everyone for joining in.
Yeah,
Till
thank
then,
you.
see ya.
Thank
Take
you
care.
for
Bye
having
bye.
us.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
and I'd probably
Thank you.
follow everyone.
Yeah, and do follow all our associate sponsors, media partners, Cluster Protocol, as well as uh, all the folks who work there. Thank you very much.